There are towns that carry scars that time cannot erase. Texarkana is one of those towns. It exists on a border, literally, divided between the states of Texas and Arkansas, two worlds separated by an imaginary line that cuts through streets, neighborhoods, and histories. In 1946, this border town became the epicenter of one of the most disturbing serial crimes in American history, and the killer was never identified. The case became known as the Phantom Killer, the Phantom of Texarkana. It all began on February 22, 1946, when Jimmy Hollis and his girlfriend Mary Jean Larry were attacked on a dark road on the outskirts of town. It was a Saturday night, and the young couple had parked their car at a secluded spot, just like so many other couples did in those days. Then, a figure emerged from the darkness. It wore a white homemade mask with holes cut where the eyes and mouth should be. Tall, masculine in silhouette, and armed. Jimmy was ordered out of the car and beaten with brutal force. Mary was attacked differently, a violence that official documents describe in careful words, but one that left marks she would carry for the rest of her life. Both survived, and both said the same thing. The creature that attacked them did not speak a single word the entire time, not one sound. Only silence. 1 month later, the Phantom returned. On the night of March 24, 1946, Richard Griffin and Polly Ann Moore were found dead inside their own car on a rural road. Polly had been assaulted before being executed with 2 shots to the back of the head. Richard had tried to fight back and was shot down as well. The crime scene revealed something deeply disturbing. The car was sitting on the shoulder, lights off, doors closed. There was no sign of struggle from outside. The killer had arrived unseen, acted unheard, and vanished without a trace. 3 weeks later, another attack. Paul Martin and Betty Jo Booker had been to a music party and were heading home when they were intercepted. Paul was found the next day on a road, dead from 4 gunshots. Betty Jo was found in a field miles away, also dead. What had happened between one body and the other was never explained. The panic in Texarkana reached a level the city had never experienced. Families locked their doors at nightfall. People stopped going out after dark. Couples parking on secluded roads, something entirely normal in those days, simply stopped. Local newspapers, rather than calming the public, printed increasingly alarming headlines. One editorial suggested that residents arm their homes and shoot any stranger who appeared at night. The state police were called in. The FBI was called in. More than 200 men participated in the investigations over the following months. And nothing. No solid leads, no usable fingerprints, no witness who had seen the face behind the mask. On May 3, 1946, the Phantom struck for the last time. This time he chose a house. Virgil Starks, a farmer, was sitting in his living room reading the newspaper when 2 shots came through the window and hit him in the face. His wife Katie rushed to him and was shot twice while trying to reach the telephone. Miraculously, Katie managed to escape the house and run to the neighbors. When police arrived, the killer was gone. This time, he had left footprints. Footprints that simply ended in the middle of the field, as if he had stopped and vanished. After May 1946, the attacks ceased. They simply stopped. No warning, no final message, no additional clues. Over the years, suspects were investigated. A man named Ewell Swinney was arrested for other crimes, and his wife claimed he was the Phantom, but later recanted, and nothing could ever be proven. Swinney's name became associated with the case, but without definitive evidence. Other suspects emerged and disappeared over the decades. None were charged, none confessed. The case stayed open, and it remains open today. What makes the Phantom of Texarkana so different from other criminals of that era is the surgical coldness of his attacks. He was never seen arriving, he was never seen leaving. The witnesses who survived described the same thing: absolute silence before, during, and after the attack, as if the man behind the mask had dissolved back into the darkness he came from. The mask itself became a symbol. Handmade, white, with irregular cutouts, it appears to this day in pop culture, in films, TV shows, and games inspired by the case. But in the real Texarkana, the case is not entertainment, it is memory. Longtime residents still remember that year in vivid detail. They remember the smell of fear mixed with the humid summer air of East Texas. They remember mothers calling their children inside before dark. They remember fathers sleeping with revolvers under their pillows. One of the survivors of the first attacks, Mary Jean Larry, lived for decades with that night etched into her memory. She never returned to the road where the attack happened. She said in an interview that what disturbed her most was not what had happened, but the silence. The complete silence of the man behind the mask, as if he were not quite human enough to have a voice. The official case file still exists in FBI records, listed as unsolved. 80 years later, the Phantom of Texarkana was never captured, never identified. And on dark nights, when the wind moves through the empty roads on the Texas-Arkansas border, they say you can still feel that presence, that silence. The silence of someone who knows they will never be found.